Hello everyone, welcome to your favorite channel show, Her Moments, and I'm your host today, Usher Travels. Now, most of the times we bring to you ladies who are here to motivate you, inspire you, awaken you, educate you, or tell you some of the things you cannot believe about them because you only see them on TV, or maybe you want to be like them but you're not brave enough to be in their positions. With me today, our guest is a very fine lady. Most of us call her the lion-hearted Susan Muwonge. Yes, she is a mother, she is an educationist, she is a businesswoman, and she is a two-time record car rally driver who has taken positions in cars, like driving to another level. Who could believe that she would be this woman who is cooking hours like she's just taking water? She is very fine. She is this woman who has made everyone sit back at home on the screens and be like, no, this is impossible. But yes, today with her story, we are going to learn more and know from her. Maybe she can one-on-one tell us that she is still making it, she made it, and she's going to inspire most of you, the females out there, who think you can also join the race. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The lion-hearted.
That's what they call me. And that's called me Super Lady.
Of course, now, before I had the lion-hearted, I was, used to the super lady.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you hear someone say the lion-hearted?
Yeah, that inspiration on me that I'm brave, because nobody would go near a lion. So if I have that heart of a lion, then I'm brave.
Is it not hard, like, not fearless, like?
No, it's not hard. What I developed in me is that passion for fast cars. Whatever I do behind the wheels, I have to do it with a lot of passion, and everything has to be superb.
Right, now for starters, where does Susan Muwonge come from? Like, a brief of the background.
Well, I'm a Christian. Susan Muwonge is a married woman.
Wow.
I have kids. I have 3 boys. I have 2 girls. I went through St. Mary's, Nabingo, then my O-level in St. Henry's Girls School, Buyege. Then I went to Bombay Senior Secondary School. From there, I had to join Chandigarh University.
What? Okay, it's kind of personal, but I would love to hear from you what course you offered at university, because most of us, we believe that when you go to university, you like what you got, what course you've been doing is something that you take on for your future.
Yeah, I basically went for education.
That's why your education is wow.
Yeah, I went for education, though it was different. It was supposed to be secondary education, and here I am for primary education. Yeah. But I had to go back and at least pursue a course for primary education.
Wow.
But
So
basically, after Bombay Senior Secondary School,
yeah.
I went to Chambogo for education, secondary education.
There are people out there watching, and I think it would be beautiful and interesting for them if they got to know where you come from. Like, I would also brag and say, oh, Susan is from my village.
Buddo is a center of everything. I grew up with my grandmom, Filma Nachito Chiruka. She's based in Buddo, and actually it's where I have my business.
Sure.
Yeah.
She's a great lady. By mere looking at her, you can really see these days. Now, when did you buy your first car?
Unfortunately, it was my husband who provided the first car. It was such a small car, a Corona, if I'm to remember. But he was the first person when I was still at the university who gave me that car.
I just can't imagine this lady at campus with a car.
Yeah, because maybe he had it all. So that was the first car I drove during my teens.
Was that the first car you went with to rally?
No, actually, a street car is far different from a rally car. When you look at this rally car, it has a roll cage. The roll cage is there to protect us when you roll.
Yeah.
Then we have fire extinguishers in there, which we do not have in a street car. When you look at the seats, they're supposed to be bucket seats. Then when you look at the seat belts, they are also different. In a street car, it comes from this side to here. Then in a rally car, you have to get it from here, you bring it here. Then in the west, then here. That is the kind of seat belt we have. Then when we are communicating with the navigator, you have an intercom, which intercom is not in the street car. So it is quite different from a street car. So it was different from the street car that I was driving.
Okay, now let's take it back to 2007 when you started the car rally. What was this thing that pushed you? Was it because you loved the car? Maybe when your husband bought you a car and you felt like, yes, this car is my best friend. Like, did you grow up feeling like, I don't know, but like you want to be a driver?
No, but I got the inspiration from my husband. My husband was a spectator and he loved fast cars. So there was this feel, what do you go there to do? So not until he picked me up, we went as spectators. Reaching the visiting grounds, we found the likes of Rose, we found the likes of Leila, and another lady, I don't remember the name. So these were the only ladies who were competing in that season. So I picked interest from there. When I picked interest, my husband is also a sportsman, so he just gave me a go ahead.
Now, I would love to know your first experience.
My first experience in a rally car wasn't easy. One, I didn't know what my opponent was up to. So as we go to the start, I saw this person, the marshal, counting for us, 1, 2, 3, setting us to go. So instead of focusing on the direction I was taking, I had to focus on my opponent. The moment I focused on the opponent, I had to go off track. Going off track meant that I'm going to run into my opponent. But thank God I had a brave navigator because he had done it before. So he kept telling me, step on the pedal, step on the pedal. We have to go, we have to go. We survived a roll, but we had to run into a tree. So when we landed in that tree, I asked him, what do we do next? He told me just reverse and go. That is what exactly I did, and I went. Like I was a bit nervous seeing myself on this lane A, then the other person, lane B. So that kind of nervousness brought me to all that problem.
Is it because she's been there before you, or?
Yeah, of course, it was my first time and I knew she knew it all.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you are that nervous. Now, a little bit taking you behind is how you do this training, because when you're doing car, like driving rallies, there is an issue of overtaking. Now, I just cannot imagine why you guys have like training, because the only training I've ever heard about is they have a week to the competition, then they are going to be moving around. So I just cannot imagine your rehearsals.
Well, it's unfortunate we do not have training grounds.
Yeah.
So when we are driving these short circuits, like we used to do in Louisville, like we normally do in Busika or Festino, what we do, after the route is out, that is when you get your car, go and do recce, go through the route. But those are not training grounds because they belong to other individuals. So once you get that opportunity, you go with your navigator, do the recce, know how you're going to maneuver a particular corner, know how you're going to maneuver the potholes and all that. But there is no that kind of training that we normally get like the bikers do. But during these long routes, like 300 and something kilometers, we are not supposed to go with the race cars. It is not allowed. We're supposed to go with a personal car, which will not attract that speed, because we have to respect other road users.
Sure.
So the training is not too much. Once you get an opportunity, you can. If the opportunity is not there, then you cannot. We also consider the mileage of our machines. You know, it is an expensive sport. You think about the mileage of the machine, and you withdraw from all the training. You just wait for the D-Day, go do your recce in a street car, then you prepare the car, and off you go.
Yeah, when you talk about it's an expensive sport, yes, indeed it is. That drives me to a question of how many cars have you used in rally?
Well, the first car I drove was Evo 2. Actually, that was provided to me by Rakataka because he was the organizer of the event that I first drove. We purchased it, though it was an inferior car. It couldn't reach up to the speeds that we wanted. Then we had to purchase another car from Ronald Sebubuze. It was a Subaru M4. There we won a championship for Clubman starters. We won that championship. I felt it wasn't enough, so we had to purchase an N10, still Subaru Impreza. By then we won the championship for 2011. Then after winning that championship, we felt we had to upgrade to another car. We went for a Subaru N12B that we are using right now, factory prepared, pro-drive.
That's not
So
one
there are
and not
4. There are 4 cars so far.
I cannot imagine. Ideally, how much would one spend in one season on their car? Because I imagine before you start the season, you have to do servicing, you have to do this, and it's ranked among the most expensive sport in the country.
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's fun. And,
I expected that.
and to be sincere,
Yeah.
you spend a lot if you want the best. Like becoming a champion, it doesn't come just like that. You do not need to wait for other people's cars to break such that you become a champion.
Sure.
You have to prepare a lot, you have to plan a lot, you have to team up a lot. So as far as preparations are concerned, we have to go mechanical. No dual card. Everything that you have to use has to be on standard
Sure.
of the car. If you just bring in something local, then you get to know that you're going to break the car. As for my team, we normally strategize if we want something. Like 2018, after a leave of 3 years, we strategize that what we have come for is championship.
Sure.
What will lead us there? Prior preparation. Then we had to come up with core values that are going to guide us.
Wow.
We had to come up with a committee that was there to guide still. So a combination of so many things so as win this championship. But most of all is the preparation of the car, and then the navigator and the driver.
This is interesting. I did not know that also car rally drivers will also have a team. Now, ideally, I would think that if I'm going to be a car rally driver, I'll be me and myself, like with the navigator. So, just to enlighten us more about it, how many people does it take for you to be on that lane of go?
No, it depends upon one's team. As far as Super Lady Rally team is concerned, we have a committee comprising of close to 8 members. You can't do it alone. You can be in the cockpit together with your navigator, but there are ideas that come on board that could lead you to success. So we have a patron. The patron is my husband.
Wow.
We have a manager. We have a PR. We have the welfare head. We have the mechanics and a head of those mechanics. So a guidance of so many people will lead you to excellence.
Now, to be a little bit personal, is I want to fall back now to the family. How does your family members feel at that particular time when they hear that lion-hearted lady, the super lady? Because trust me, if it were me, I would all time be on tenterhooks.
Well, at first my granny, because I value her so much, was negative, completely negative, 100% negative. One, her worry was, this lady is married. The sport is male dominated.
Sure.
You can get that. Then two, they were fighting for my safety.
Sure.
It is a dangerous sport. Once she rolls, what will happen? Once she is involved in an accident, what will happen? But I got all the guts from my husband because he was positive. He was there to finance.
Yeah.
So he had to sit down with my granny and take her through each and everything. So that is to do with the family, my family. Then when it came to my husband's family, of course they were also negative. How do you let your wife involved in such a sport? Male-dominated. I don't know what people mean by male-dominated.
I know.
Because we drive street cars. So how different is it from a rally car? Maybe the speeds and the nature of a car. So they were also negative, just as you know, the mlamos and the whatever. But all the guts were being gotten from my husband. I knew he was there to support me. I knew he wouldn't let me into something that would disappoint or embarrass him because he knew me best. So I had to go. Then there came my dad. He was also furious because of my life. But after getting it all from my husband, he said, okay, we shall wish her luck.
I just can imagine when I said the lion-hearted, and I expected you to be, she's a fine woman. I expected her to be like so jolly to that maximum because she's always in the race. And I really see why she does much of the cars. Now, this being a business lady, I want us to take it in a perspective of how you're managing family, business, your personality, all together. Because there are many people out there who are really failing to put these things together. It is either they will drop a few and move with the others because you're always at work. If it's season and it's time for driving, then it's time for driving. But you will never hear that, yes, she did not compete, but she's always there. Balancing it, because I can't imagine your ideal day. What do you do when you wake up in the morning? Like, even before the show, I was really asking, do you have like a race game on your phone? And you said no, and I'm like, okay, surprising.
Well, I try my level best to balance up each and everything. How? I have a timetable. When it comes to business, we have a timetable from the Ministry of Education, whereby we're supposed to be at school for 3 months. Then we have a break. Then when we go running, we still have a schedule for these events. We have 7 events in a year. Among those 7 events, we have breaks. Like in February, we had an event. March, we do not have. Probably next month, that will be April, we shall have an event. So there are breaks. That is already a timetable that we use to move on. Then when it comes to family, I have to leave home as early as 6. But before I leave, I have kids to drop at school. So that is another timetable to follow. Then I have to pick my kids from school around 4 or 5. That is still under my timetable. So weekends, if I'm not at school, then I'll have to be with my family. And most of the time is dedicated to the family.
Wow.
So that timetable helps me to balance up this everything.
That's so interesting now. I imagine.
And the funny bit, I do not have a maid at home.
Really?
So weekends, I have to be in the kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That defines
Why
her.
I had to drop the maid, one time my daughter asked me, now phone me in the kitchen, and she was like, I didn't know you know how to cook.
Wow.
So from then, I had to show them that we were supposed to do these cures together.
That really defines her as a woman. She does not only be in that business, she does not only be in the car, but she also has time for family. That's why in the introduction of introducing my show, I really said she is a joyful mother who is willing to go down and do anything for her family. Now, Susan, I cannot imagine how you drive if it's not rally. When you say you take your kids to school, pick them, I even would pray I don't meet you by the road. You know? How do you manage to control this? Because if it's fun, I imagine you just, you know?
The funny bit about driving on the streets is that we are supposed to respect other road users. It's not a closed route like it is when we are rallying. So you have to consider the fact that you will need traffic lights. You have to consider the fact that in front of you there is a driver and behind you there is a driver. So I respect other road users, unless otherwise, but I'm not driving the road.
I have to see this. I still cannot believe.
I'm not.
So how would you feel if your daughter woke up tomorrow morning and she told you, Mommy, I want to be like you?
Well, ours is a sports family. When you look at my husband, he's so supportive when it comes to co-curricular activities. When you look at my school, we are so supportive in line with co-curricular activities. We have a lot of engagement as far as sport is concerned. Then, most of my boys, 3 of my boys are great or good footballers. They are either captains at the schools where they go. They normally move countries because of football. Then one of my girls, while at Trinity College Nabengo, she was the captain of that football team.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I have another girl, Frida. She's good at swimming, so that is another sport she enjoys. Unfortunately, I've not yet seen one of my kids.
It makes you sad.
Apart from the 5-year-old boy, she has picked some interest in cars. When the mechanics are working on the car, you will see him around. When we go for rallying, he will always be in the service park. He will pick up the tools, do this and this. So I think he will develop that element in future because he's now 5 years.
Well, I can really see this is a sport family.
Yeah.
Well, Susan, there are very many things that are said about you, and people would love to learn because very many females out there, they have that fear in them. But how do you encourage them, develop, take away that fear? Because earlier I was talking about how brave you are. Because I cannot imagine, because women, long time ago, we seem to be soft, we seem to be very humble, we seem not to, engage in such activities. But the braveness that you've got, the strength, the belief that you have, what are some of these things, like any girl out there who would want to start this should take up, like from the word go?
Well, I have it in mind that fear leads to failure. The moment you develop that attitude in you, that means you will not get anywhere. I normally tell my girls that believe in yourself. If you fail to believe in yourself, nobody will. If you want to start up something, before even you consult anybody, consult your heart. That inner you, what it tells you is what you have to move by. Then, believing in yourself leads to excellence in one way or another. Whether there is a path somewhere, whether there is no, as long as you believe that you can get there, you can. When I had just joined this sport, a lot of violence came on board. That gender-based violence. A lady, what can she do? This is a male-dominated sport. Because
you even go into sports with gentlemen, but you still... It's so
there
funny.
was a time when they had to pair us with a gentleman. And I believed in myself from the start line that I can make it, and I indeed made it. when I went competing in 2011,
Sure,
I
yeah.
had that feel when I took up that championship. I had that feeling in me that I can win this championship, can come what may. Because of that belief that I developed, I got somewhere. From the sabbatical leave of 3 years, I came on board. I told my team, I have a feeling that I'm going to win this championship. Let us do it and everything that will keep the car on track. I believed in myself from the word go, hence becoming a champion. So I tell people out there, especially ladies, belief is the first thing that you have to have in mind. Once you do not develop that, nobody is going to help you. Drop that fear factor and things will get on track.
Wow. When a brave woman comes out and they say something, it's out of their story, their experience, that maybe the young girls out there will have to believe. Now, from what people say, it's like a stereotype, but sometimes it gets real. Sometimes it gets real. I give an example of some females are stopped from going into some sports because there are so many health conditions attached, and maybe if you're female and you do this, maybe this could happen, maybe that could happen. Health-wise, how do you handle this super lady in you to prevent yourself from, getting a stress slightly?
Of course, I exercise a lot, and the kind of exercise I do is not going into a gym, but at least I do swimming. I do jogging a lot, so I prepare my mind in that sense. Things to do with stress, I try to avoid very much, especially when we have an event. My people know me. Things to do with the car is not yet ready, they will not mention in my face because they do not want to stress me.
Exactly.
We delegated work, so the person concerned with that should handle. If it needs training a little bit or testing the car, they have to prepare it and not in the last week of the event, because that will stress me. But I try as much as possible to avoid it. I keep around people who will keep a smile on my face. My husband is normally positive. Once he sees that there is any element that is going to bring stress, he will handle. We do not have sponsors as a team, but at least he tries his level best to ensure that if I have an event, everything is on board. He's my number one fan. He's the finance controller of each and everything. So he makes sure that I'm stress-free in that area.
Okay, now I expected you to tell me something about health when it comes to being crazy on the runway and something like that. There's a way you drift. It's called drifting, changing wheels from one corner to the other. Does it not have like any side effects? Because there are people out there who are maybe in fear. Maybe at the end of the day, when you do this,
It doesn't, because remember, you are fit. You cannot do that when you are not fit. If you have that fitness in you, I don't think anything can happen. Okay? Eat well, do exercises, make sure you are fit. By the time you drive a 43-kilometer section, you come back when you can take on another section. I drink a lot of water with glucose, so it keeps me healthy.
I just cannot imagine. Ideally, some people say weight while driving is also important. Does this mean that fat ladies, fat women should not try?
Why not? Have you seen Ronald Selgoze?
The guy.
Yes. Yeah, he's fat, but he's, I think, fit. I don't know how fit he is. But when you see how he cruises that car, he's fast on the road. Who else? Among the ladies, there is only one lady, Susan Muwonge. So, I don't think weight matters as long as you are fit. It depends on how you manage.
So what makes you to be that one woman in a million, that one lady in 1,000 men? Because she is this lady who has taken a step, not only racing with the females, but she joins the males. And she says, yes, I'm going for you and I'm going to scoop this championship. And yes, she does.
I love trying out challenges. So it was that one day in 2007 that I picked up that challenge. I tried it out. I didn't fail, and I've never failed. So where challenges are, as long as I can manage, I try and believe that I can make it.
Well, she does try and believe that she can make it. And let's first go for a short break. But when we do return, Susan Muwonge is going to tell us what are the challenges she's facing as a woman who is into this unconventional field, a field that is not for everyone. What are these things as a lady you need to know? Maybe most of us do buy cars, but the only thing you know is sit in a car and drive a car. But what are these things you have to check as you just sit in that car? And what are those words maybe she could give you out there if you want to join this race? Maybe it could be a take home and a tip for you to enjoy and have fun like she's already doing. Let's take a break.